Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Hoop Hogs video mailbag. Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace, coming to you once again with our daily Razorback basketball Q&A. It's crazy how many of these we've done as I go back and look at it, but we're just a few days away from Arkansas opening up exhibition play. So it doesn't count in the win-loss column, but it counts on our hearts, right? Because we want to see the Razorbacks do well. Against Kansas, it's coming October 25th. That's Friday. We're almost here, and we'll start learning a lot about this basketball team. So I'm super, super excited to start talking about that and breaking down that matchup and just getting eyes on these guys against somebody else. You know, it's one thing to see, practice clips and, the tip-off tour and everything like that, but you really start learning what you have, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you need to work on when you line up and play against somebody else. It just so happens the first team that Arkansas is going to do that against is the preseason #1 team in the country. So we'll see how that goes. Probably depends on health. But anyway, today's question, let's see what we have. It comes from Scott Womack. He says, in transferring to Arkansas, how much will a change in offensive philosophy affect Nelly Davis and Jonas Aidoo's ability to score? Interesting question. I think both of those guys are going to need to score quite a bit for Arkansas, and I think they're expected to. I would anticipate Nelly Davis being Arkansas's leading scorer this year. Jonas Aidoo, a guy who averaged 11 and 7 in the SEC, they're probably counting on some points out of him as well. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. I think time will tell on exactly what this looks like, because the first thing I want to see is what kind of offensive philosophies are we going to get from Arkansas and John Calipari? Is it going to be, a lot of the high pace, up tempo? What was one of the best offenses in the country last year with Tim Welch there kind of serving as the OC? Well, now he's gone. How much of that is Cal going to carry on with him? It was hard to tell from the tip-off tour and the practices they were doing. Are we going to see that, or are we going to see more of the old school dribble drive offense, all the floppy action that he just ran to death in years previously when they could get a little bit predictable out there? I don't know. And so there'll probably be a better answer to this question after we see a couple of these exhibition games. But just based on what we saw at the tip-off tour, a few things that stood out to me that I think are noteworthy, I guess. A big emphasis on playing fast. Like, they're really looking to push the pace, up tempo. That's obviously going to help in terms of scoring, right? An increased number of possessions and playing fast means an increased number of shots for your go-to guys. Naturally, that's going to help. Both John L. Davis and Jonas Aidoo are probably going to be playing in a faster system than they were at their previous stops. I hopped on KenPom and I was looking at the adjusted tempo rankings last season. Kentucky was number 12 in the country in adjusted tempo rate. Tennessee was actually faster than I thought, but they were still 80th. That's probably as fast as they played in a long time. And then FAU, where Nelly Davis was 133rd. So those guys are going to have to be in shape because they're going to be getting up and down the floor. But I do think that's probably a good thing. I think it's more rim runner opportunities for Jonas Aidoo. Now, how good a shape is he going to be in entering the season? Because I know he's been limited in and out of the boot, in and out of practice. I didn't think he was moving particularly well when they were in Pine Bluff a couple weekends ago. But has he ramped things back up in practice? Is he going to be involved in these exhibitions? We'll see. Either way, once he's full go and these guys are getting after it, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to just rim run in transition and have some easy bucket chances there. Nelly Davis, I think, is really, really good in transition. What I like about him is he's a guy who can be on ball and go coast to coast. He's such a good rebounder at his spot because he was kind of forced to. They played 4 guards at FAU, but he kind of had to defend the power forward position, so they needed him to defensive rebound quite a bit. He would grab a defensive board and just go coast to coast on somebody. He'll be able to do that, but he's also really good at filling in on the wings. And, Boogie, DJ, whoever's got their head on a swivel, he's a guy who's a really, really good finisher, despite not being the most explosive above-the-rim athlete in the world. So I think he's going to have some easy opportunities if Arkansas plays as fast as they say they want to. The other thing that I like, especially in the half court, heavy emphasis on ball reversals, which are going to get defenses into second and third rotations. The more you make the defense move and adjust, the more opportunities they're going to have to break down, and you can kind of anticipate that and dive into those weaknesses. But paint touches, boy, that was an emphasis, man. You were hearing the assistant coaches yelling it. Cal was stopping. He's saying, yeah, you shoot all the threes you want, but you better get a paint touch first. you better get the ball into the paint. And why is that? Well, it collapses the defense, right? And so, first of all, when John L. Davis gets the ball in the paint, he's a bucket. You think Jimmy Witt and Ricky Council and whoever, Tremont Mark, had these mid-range jumpers. Nelly Davis is nasty in the mid-range and really crafty around the rim, and he'll bully ball you. He'll be like an old school Villanova guard and post you up, back you down, and score over the top of you because he's a strong guy too. So when he gets a paint touch, it's probably going to be a paint jumper, right? But it collapses the defense and it creates opportunities to kick it out to open shooters and get more in rhythm, catch and shoot 3-point looks, higher percentage shots. That could be DJ Wagner getting into the lane and kicking out to Nelly Davis. We've seen these clips of him just being a dead eye catch and shoot 3-point shooter. Arkansas is going to need that from him. It also draws help away from the rim when you have somebody come over. So, whoever's defending Jonas Adu is going to have a decision to make. Do I stay at home and make sure they don't dump it off or lob it up to Adu, who's probably going to reposition himself in the dunker spot, maybe J cut to get open for the ball? Or is it going to be a situation where I go and help and make sure the guard doesn't get a layup and then hope that my backside help is able to drop down and hold off Adu? We'll see. So I agree. Paint touch is going to be really important. If they're getting those consistently and they kind of practice what they preach, or practice what they preach and then work on in practice, I guess you should say, then I think there's going to be some good opportunities for both of those guys there. How will Arkansas shoot it? I think that's going to really be important. I am way higher on Arkansas's ability to shoot the three now than I was prior to seeing them in person in the tip-off tour. Boogie Flan's a knockdown shooter. Carter Knox, much better shooter than I thought. DJ Wagner looks improved. Not going to be a 40% guy, but he looks improved. Trevin shooting the hell out of it. Big Z shooting it well. I think that's going to help them a lot with spacing, which is going to be key. What kind of angles and driving lanes is Jonas Adu, or excuse me, not Jonas Adu. I do not want him attacking from the perimeter off the dribble. What kind of driving angles and lanes does Nelly Davis have to attack? The better shooters you have, the more spacing you have, the better opportunities there are going to be for those kind of things. And then it just kind of gives you the opportunity to have space in there for Jonas Adu to operate on the block, because he is a guy, whether it's, pick and roll opportunities, and he's really good as a short roller or going all the way and being a lob threat, or just posting him up old school, because he's got some back to the basket game. He's got some soft touch around there, and he's strong and can seal and get his positioning on the block. It doesn't matter if teams are able to clog the paint on you. I don't think they're going to be able to do that against Arkansas. So what kind of lineups are we going to see alongside Jonas Adu that's going to give him maximum spacing? I mean, if he's playing with, your guards who you feel comfortable can shoot it, let's say you've got Boogie and Nelly and Carter Knox out there, and then you add Trevin Brazil, who might be he looked like the best 3-point shooter on the team when I saw him down there Sunday. If you got that, then that's a lot of space to operate in the paint and around the rim. It's easier opportunities for offensive rebounds. I think that kind of stuff will help Jonas Adu as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see, though. I wanted to answer your question the best I could, and I think I'm going to double back to this one maybe after the Kansas and TCU exhibitions, once we kind of get more of an idea of exactly what their motion is going to look like, how fast they're really playing, what they're doing in terms of sets, and is this the new and improved Cal with the offense they were running last year, or does he kind of get back into some of those old habits? Because I don't know about y'all. I don't know how much you know about floppy action, but I don't want to see it 30 times a game. So a little bit TBD on there, but appreciate the question, Scott, for sure. It was a good one. And buddy, we're getting close to about to have these answers right there in front of us. And that's exciting. I can't wait. So about to get rolling here. But appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, make sure you get subscribed to our YouTube channel, Inside Arkansas. Follow along with our written content at InsideArkansas.com. And I will be back with you in the morning. It's been Curtis Wilkerson with the Pod at the Palace. Everybody have a good day.